All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are going to talk about Justin Fields and a possible role for him in the offense. So, I know we've talked about the Steelers quarterback situation recently, and Russell Wilson is most likely going to be the starter. Justin Fields will have the opportunity to play, but at least in the beginning, it's going to be Russell Wilson's team. But he might be on a short leash, and the Steelers may feel inclined to put Fields in, whatever the case may be. But they do have a possible role for him, even with Russell Wilson being the starter. Now, it's not going to be returning punts or kicks, because I know that's been talked about. But the Steelers plan to utilize Justin Fields in specific goal line situations, even if Russell Wilson wins the starting quarterback job. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that multiple teams expect the Steelers to have goal line packages for Fields, utilizing his dual threat capability as a runner or thrower out of the shotgun. Arthur Smith has previously used similar tactics with Derrick Henry while with the Tennessee Titans. And despite Wilson being the primary quarterback for now, head coach Mike Tomlin is reportedly very fond of Fields, who offers a running threat that the 35-year-old does not. And yeah, Russell Wilson's getting older. Russell Wilson used to take off and run with it a lot, but yeah, he's getting older. He's not going to do that as much. And Fields has a career 657 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. This was last year. Yeah, he has more rushing yards than that. I don't know why I was saying that. And in 2022, he had 1,143 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. So yeah, if I said career 657 rushing yards, I did not mean to say that. But yeah, so they could use Fields. They're still going to use him even with him not necessarily being the starter. And I mean, teams have done this before with other quarterbacks. I mean, if you go back to when the Eagles had both Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, I mean, they had both of them on the field at the same time. I mean, even going back further, the Jets had, when the Jets acquired Tim Tebow, they kind of did the same thing with him. At times, they put Tebow in, and he'd run a QB draw up the middle. Yeah, that was the Tebow Jets era was interesting, but we even saw Fields do that in Chicago. When they started Andy Dalton. It was the first week of the season, and Fields had a rushing touchdown. They put him in at the goal line, and he scored. So they could definitely do that. The 49ers did that with Trey Lance when Jimmy Garoppolo was still on the team. I apologize, dog is barking. Yeah, so, I mean, we've seen this plenty of times. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So, yeah, I mean, Fields is going to have the opportunity to win the starting quarterback job, but it's going to be Russell Wilson at least to start out. And we'll see how the Steelers play, how Russell Wilson plays, and then if he's not very good, then the Steelers are going to go to Fields. I think the other thing, too, is I want to see what happens now after the season. I mean, I guess the Steelers are really going to evaluate what they have and determine, okay, we're going to move forward with one of these guys or not, or if they have to hit the reset button again. Because what they did was smart. I mean, they're barely paying Russell Wilson. They're paying him basically the veterans minimum. And then they traded Justin Fields. They traded a late round pick. So, I'm interested to see how these guys perform and what the Steelers end up doing beyond 2024. But right now we got to focus on 2024. I don't want to rush it, but that's just something to think about down the line. So, but yeah, I mean, I think at least using Fields in that role, I don't necessarily think it's not groundbreaking. The one thing, the one negative is, well, what happens if he gets hurt? Then, I think the only other quarterback they have is Kyle Allen. But I'm not anticipating Fields getting hurt, but that is just one negative to look at. If they, use this kind of strategy. But like I said, it's not groundbreaking. We've seen other teams do this plenty of times. So, but at least it's just, to keep Fields involved. And I'd rather him do this than them use him on kick returns. Because I just think that has disaster written all over it, in my opinion. Because that he could get hurt. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting year for the Steelers. Completely different quarterback room than last year, which you didn't expect. I mean, I thought Kenny Pickett was going to be the starter, and they were going to be off and running, but that was not the case. They got Russell Wilson, and then they moved off of Kenny Pickett, and then they got Fields. So, we'll see how they are. They're backed by a really good defense. And, I like the pieces that they have on offense. But, it all comes down to the quarterback play. And I feel like I've been saying that a lot. But it's true. If Russell Wilson goes out there and he plays really well, the Steelers, I think they could be on their way to winning their first playoff game in a long time. But I don't think that's... I don't know if that's going to happen. That's way down the line. But, and I'm curious to see how he plays, because, there's going to be some pressure there having Justin Fields looking over your shoulder, because, the second you don't play well, you could be on the bench, and Fields could be out there. So, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, it seems like they're going to use Justin Fields in some capacity on offense, even with Russell Wilson as the starter, which, makes sense. So we'll see how it goes. But let me know what you guys think about that. Is that a good thing that the Steelers are doing, or not? But yeah, that is pretty much it for the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to check out all of the other shows as well. The NBA Finals starts this week. Got a little bit of a gap in between the conference finals and the finals because the Mavericks and the Celtics made quick work of the teams that they just went against. Well, especially the Celtics. They swept the Pacers. And the Mavericks, it was a gentleman's sweep. The Timberwolves were able to take at least one game, which I thought that series was going to be better, but I guess not. So it's going to be interesting. Kyrie Irving facing one of his former teams. So it should be, I hope it's a good finals. But we'll have to wait and see. So that's on Thursday. And then the Stanley Cup. So we got that matchup's finalized. You got the Oilers against the Panthers. And I just want to check, when does that series start? Yeah, the Oilers wrapped up the series last night. Is it Friday, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. Actually, hold on, I'll find it. And my dog is barking again. I don't know why. She can't just wait till I finish up here. Oh, so it starts Saturday. Okay, so the NBA Finals Thursday, Stanley Cup Saturday. All right, so there's a little bit of that there. And then, of course, you got baseball in full swing. So, the Yankees are really playing well, which makes me happy. But yeah, we're nearing the end with the NBA and the NHL. And then, we got the WNBA going on. So there's still some basketball going on. But yeah, it's like I said, we're nearing the end with the NBA and the NHL until the fall. So, and the NFL will be here before we know it. It's just we still got a little bit of time before. We got a couple of months until the preseason starts, and then we'll be off and running in the fall between that and college football. So, but I don't want to rush the summer. I really don't. Because I'll be going on vacation soon, and I don't want to rush that. But, yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So, like I said, make sure to check out all the other shows. And with that, that is all the time that we have for today. Like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And until then, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.